Welcome to Buffalo Pregame, your source for live Buffalo football discussion, news, analysis, opinions, and more. Presented by ASM Publications and Bills Digest.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Buffalo Pregame. Once again, we bring you news and notes from Bills training camp as we have throughout the first 3 days of Bills training camp at St. John Fisher University. There's been a lot of news to report, and that is the case once again on Friday with Keon Coleman experiencing an up and down day. Khalil Shakir really stepped to the forefront with a solid day. And then a defender making 3 interceptions to take the ball away from the Bills offense. We'll get into all of it coming up shortly. But each week on Buffalo Pregame, I'll provide updates on the NFL, NHL, and more via daily articles, podcast videos, and more. Please subscribe to the Buffalo Pregame with Alex Brasky YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts, along with Buffalo Pregame with Alex Brasky on Substack, both of which are free of charge. All right, let's get into it. We'll start with Keon Coleman's drops today. Now, Coleman started the day very strong, caught a few balls across the field, one over the middle, which was posted to the Bills social media page, and he turned it into quite the gain down the middle, beating his defender and escaping into the open field. Might have been a 30, 40-yard touchdown, but it's always tough to tell without the pads on and no contact being allowed, no tackling, nothing of that nature. But he also had a couple of drops, one near the sideline working against Max Hairston. You might want to give Hairston credit for the pass breakup there, but probably a pass that you would like Coleman to come down with. It was a contested catch, like I said, near the sideline, about 10, 20 yards, I'd say, downfield, and Hairston was there to knock it away. A little bit later, Coleman against Hairston. Coleman had beaten Hairston, I believe, on a post over the middle, and got into the open field. Would have been probably a 20-yard gain, just a straight-up drop. Really nothing else to sugarcoat it with. Just a straight drop off of his hands, hits the turf incomplete, and the reports start flying, the questions start going. And I'm just here to caution you not to overreact to one way or the other. Keon Coleman has been a mixed bag throughout training camp. Rough first day. I think he went 0 for 5 on receptions. Day 2, I think he caught everything thrown his way. About 5 receptions on the day. On day 3, a couple of receptions here or there, also a couple of drops. So you've seen the bad, you've seen the good, and you've seen a mix of both on all 3 days here at Bills training camp. And I think Coleman is going to be a player that you might see some variance in the success he sees, particularly working in training camp scenarios where he's trying to work out some of the kinks and some of the stuff that he improved upon throughout the offseason. But I'm not concerned with it. Coming into the draft, Keon Coleman was drafted to be a catch guy, somebody that you could rely on, somebody that has these strong hands, has the ability to win those one-on-ones up at the catch point. And he's exhibited that ability both on the field last year and during training camp at times this year. So it's never a good sign to see your second-round wide receiver from a season ago dropping passes. Also had one go off his hands during one-on-ones at the end of practice. But these guys are still working to build that chemistry and regain that chemistry from a season ago. And I would have to say throughout this offseason and training camp, I've liked a lot more that I've seen from Keon Coleman than I haven't liked. So I wouldn't be concerned. The separation is what you're concerned with Keon Coleman. That has been slowly coming along, I think. Maybe not taking as much of a jump as you'd like to see, but you can see signs of progress with this player. And success is very, very rarely linear. So there's going to be some variance in what we see out there from Coleman, and I think you have to take it all in stride, especially this time of year before the pads come on, where he can truly be a physical threat. So I wouldn't be too hot and bothered about Keon Coleman's drops today. That is not something that I would carry into later training camp practices. Now, if these issues start to crop up again and start to continue, then there's a problem there. But an isolated situation today with a couple of drops, I think he's been pretty good otherwise. So that's the skinny on Keon Coleman. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts of this conversation. And we begin with Khalil Shakir, another Bills wide receiver. Had himself a day today. Started off 7-on-7 with about a 50-yard touchdown on a corner route. Perfectly thrown ball from Josh Allen, back left. I think back left corner of the end zone. Had a bad angle, but it was deep down the field. He either caught it in the end zone or ran it in. Beat Cole Bishop on the play. He and Allen have connected several times throughout camp. Shakir. And what I love to see today, you know what you're going to get from Khalil Shakir in the short to intermediate game. He's that yards after the catch guy. That's what he's known for. And he showed that today as well. But if he can add that down the field element to his game and gaining that separation on defenders, that would make him a much more dynamic, much more effective wide receiver. And that's not to say he's effective already. 100 targets a season ago. If you can start to target him 30, 40 yards downfield, you really got something there. So Khalil Shakir really reminding everybody he's still here. All the conversation this offseason, Joshua Palmer, how's he going to fit in? Elijah Moore, what's he going to bring to this offense? Keon Coleman, can he take the next step? What's up with Curtis Samuel? Khalil Shakir reminded everybody today he's still around. And that was good to see. I'm not so sure he'll have consistent down the field opportunities, but it does seem the past few days after red zone work on day one that the Bills are making a concerted effort to work on that intermediate to downfield game, something that was missing from their offense last year. And another benefactor of that was Joshua Palmer. His signature catch really came during one-on-one drills. He was working against Max Hairston. Excuse me, a little tickle in my throat. And Josh Allen went up high and kind of a back shoulder throw about 20 yards down the field, and Palmer went up and made a great play on the ball. And that's kind of a chemistry throw. And to have that developed already between Allen and Palmer, a very good sign. You see them talking all the time during practice, a lot of communication between the two. And I think that's what's going to have to be there for this duo to thrive. You need that chemistry. You need that rapport. You kind of have to know what each other are thinking at times. And you saw it on that play. It was a prime example. The back shoulder throw up top where only Palmer could get it. Really good stuff. And Joshua Palmer has been working down the seam as well. I think he was yesterday, caught a ball down the seam. So he's another player that should help the Bills go down the field a little bit better. I just wanted to listen to the audio. Yesterday it was a little bit choppy. I'm hoping it's not today. I look at the screen here and I seem to be a little bit laggy in video. Internet has been good. I don't know. I'm not seeing any complications here, so we'll keep rolling. As Joshua Palmer added to what was another fine day for Josh Allen. didn't have his best day one, but since they moved out of the red zone, he's been dealing it all over the field, connecting with pretty much all of his receivers. Curtis Samuel, a big day on day 2. Today, it was more so Shakir and Palmer, I thought, with that first group. And Zach Davidson also has gotten a lot of work with the first team. Dawson Knox out. Dalton Kincaid, perhaps, trying to manage him a bit after an injury-riddled second season. And Zach Davidson has been out there with the first team a lot. So has rookie Jackson Hawes, as I reported earlier this week. So they've been mixing and matching at the tight end position. Davidson had a ball go right through his hands on day 1, but other than that, he's been fairly solid. Question with Davidson is going to be his run blocking ability, and I'm not sure he can quite match that of Jackson Hawes, but he can up that part of his game. Perhaps he finds a spot on the roster if Dawson Knox's injury is to continue. And why don't we provide a quick injury update? Dawson Knox and Laviska Shenault. I saw Laviska Shenault. I saw a video from News 4's Carl Jones showing Dawson Knox, both of them working off to the side with athletic trainers at Friday's practice. So a good sign for both of them that it isn't a significant injury. I haven't seen Spencer Brown. I haven't seen Cedric Van Pran Granger. Doesn't mean they're not out there. I just haven't seen them with my own 2 eyes. So something to watch out. 2 players missed practice today. Dorian Williams, linebacker, with a calf injury. A.J. Epinesa with an ankle injury. A.J. Epinesa was on the sideline today in workout clothes. I didn't see him doing anything, but good to see him out there. I don't think Williams was out there. Like I said, I didn't see him. I didn't see that anyone else saw him either. So we'll keep a check on Dorian Williams, A.J. Epinesa, both missed practice today after leaving early on Thursday. And then Dawson Knox on the non-football injury list with a hamstring injury. Spencer Brown and Cedric Van Pran Granger on the PUP list with back and calf injuries, respectively. And then Laviska Shenault with a lower leg injury also on the PUP list. So a few injuries there, but Bills they haven't suffered a catastrophic injury or anything that's created a gasp in the crowd during the course of practice. So that's been a good thing. Now, I said Josh Allen had a really nice day, his second straight nice day. Excuse me. But there were 3 interceptions created by the Bills defense. And it came after defensive coordinator spoke with the media before Friday's practice and said he was a little bit concerned that there weren't any takeaways the first 2 days of practice. And just like that, 3 interceptions of Josh Allen today. A couple of them came on miscommunications. Taylor Rapp with all 3 interceptions for the Bills defense. And I've been saying it all offseason how valuable this guy is going to be for the Bills defense. Well, you saw it today. Bills defense challenged to make a play by their defensive coordinator. Taylor Rapp makes 3 of them. So he's going to be so important at safety. Cole Bishop continuing to work out there. Got beaten a couple times today, but it's going to happen throughout the course of training camp. He's also been solid in coverage at times as well. But Taylor Rapp, really, really good day. And Tre'Davious White was asked about Taylor Rapp after practice, and to put it bluntly, he said he's a effing baller. And he balled out today, did Taylor Rapp. Very, very good to see. Also, I thought Tre'Davious White had a pretty good day. He still gets beat sometimes when it comes to speed. If his feet aren't in the right place and one of these quicker wide receivers are to make that burst of a cut on him, it's tough for him to catch up sometimes. But he's been in the right position. Had a couple of pass breakups today. And White, during his conversation with reporters after practice, said that this is the first time in 2 or 3 years that he's enjoyed a healthy offseason of work, and says he just feels refreshed and he can truly tell the difference out there. And I would say I can as well. The last time we saw Tre'Davious White on the field during training camp, he was tentative. He didn't seem to be quite as comfortable. But after a full healthy season a year ago, back out there ready to go. And he's not going to go down without a fight in this cornerback one battle. If you listen to his post-practice comments to the media, he asserted that he's not dead yet. He's coming for that starting job. He's been working basically his butt off, he said, this entire offseason to put himself in position, and that's what he's doing with his performance on the field during training camp. I think he's going to give Max Harrison a run for his money. I've been saying it all offseason. Also on the back end, cornerback safety Cam Lewis had a big day. A couple of pass breakups early on during the session. Most impressive came when he ran stride for stride with Josh Palmer deep down the field before reaching in to knock down a catchable ball. And Lewis could be in competition for a roster spot. I know he's been on the team the last few years. The team likes him. Fan favorite, UB guy. But that's a crowded defensive back room, and I know it's not necessarily loaded with elite talent, but there's a lot of guys in there that they could keep. Cam Lewis, I think, maybe not quite on the bubble, but somebody in consideration in those battles. And a big day today with a couple of pass breakups. That gives him a leg up in his race for a roster spot. Up front, edge rusher Michael Hoyt. I don't take too much away from offensive defensive line play before the pads come on. It's really difficult to judge when there's such minimal contact, like I said, with no pads. But Michael Hoyt has been a mainstay in the backfield throughout Bills training camp. His athleticism, his burst, his motor, I would say, is what is most impressive. That guy is like the Energizer Bunny. He's got a battery on his back. Plays hard, plays fast. Not the tallest guy out there, but built. 6-game PED suspension. I'm intrigued what Michael Hoyt's going to have to offer when he comes back after those first 6 games. Elsewhere on the edge, Joey Bosa, those interceptions for Taylor Rapp today, creating some pressure in Josh Allen's face. May have been able to get a sack, but instead, no contact, and Josh Allen was able to get the ball away relatively quickly when Bosa approached, so not sure there. But in any event, Bosa creating the pressure, leading to the takeaway. That's what you need from your pass rush. Pass rush to work with the secondary. Give it opportunities to take the ball away. And I can't wait to see Joey Bosa and see if he can finish for this Bills defense, as they've not had that finisher. They haven't had that constant disruptor off the edge. Can Joey Bosa be that guy he was at times on Friday? Edge rusher Greg Rousseau. What strikes me with him, and this isn't newfound knowledge, he's so good against the run. Just so good against the run. His long arms, strength, intuitiveness. He sets that edge and he turns everything right back inside into the mess. He's so valuable in what they do against the run, Greg Rousseau. Now, he's one of my X factors this year, and I'd like to see that pass rushing ability improved and have him become more of a finisher, similar to, like I said, with Bosa. But Greg Rousseau brings so much as really a complete pass rusher, consistently one of the best in pressure rate, and might be the best run defending defensive end in the NFL. So that's the edge report. There was a minor dust up during Friday's practice. Offensive lineman Alec Anderson ripped off the helmet of Hayden Harris. Scuffle was short-lived, and off to the side, you had Michael Hoyt, and I couldn't see the other player. I think it was David Edwards, the offensive lineman, doing kind of a pretend fight off to the side. All in good fun. Bills have been well behaved first 3 days of training camp. This is the first scuffle that has occurred. I haven't even seen much arguing. I know we saw AJ Epinesa apparently punch Jackson Hawes in the face before he exited practice on Thursday, but that was just an isolated situation and nothing that led to quite the scuffle like the quick one that we saw today. But that's about it from my observations. It wasn't as an action-packed day today. The James Cook stuff kind of took a back seat. But we can go through some of Bobby Babbich's comments before practice. He's always a very good listen. Listening to Joe Brady can kind of be like listening to Charlie Brown's teacher. It doesn't really give you a whole lot, which that's fine. He's not supposed to give the media a lot. But Babbich really expands on these guys and gives good sound bites, good quotes, stuff that really makes you think. On Jordan Hancock, the rookie cornerback and safety who we've seen work at safety and nickel cornerback to start training camp. Babbich says, we're working him in segments. We're getting him to focus on a position here and position there so he can rebuild a repertoire of positions, and then it's our job to figure out what he's good at. And Babbich spoke to this earlier during the offseason when he said they had a very detailed plan for Jordan Hancock, and this must have been what it was, giving him opportunities at multiple different positions and kind of assessing the situation from there. I think entering training camp, they thought this guy's going to be better as a safety, but that can change. If he's out there at nickel cornerback and they see something pop, they make the switch. And that's what Babbich was alluding to. Babbich also on Cole Bishop, who's trying to win a starting job. Confident in Bishop, and says that Bishop's confidence is also improved. Says that he entered year one with so much anxiety over proving himself, learning the system, acclimating to the NFL level. Says he's much more confident in his approach from year one to year two. Quote, he knows he's a second-round pick. He knows he's talented. He knows what the expectations are. Babbich on Joey Bosa, who a lot of people only want to play on pass rushing downs, but Babbich viewing Bosa as a 3-down guy, and he's been strong against the run throughout his career, so there's no question there. It's just keeping him healthy and managing his reps. But Babbich on Bosa, quote, you saw when he came through, or excuse me, he's definitely a 3-down guy, is what Babbich said on Bosa. So we've already seen the Bills start to manage his workload, took some reps away on day 2. Didn't quite follow it as closely on day 3. I'll have to watch more on Sunday to see Bosa's participation level. But the Bills viewing Bosa as a 3-down edge rusher. And then Tre'Davious White spoke after practice, and Babbich talked about him before practice. Also mentioned that he's finally had an offseason. And you hear these coaches talk about Tre'Davious White. Fans thought it was an afterthought when he came in, wasn't going to have a job to compete necessarily with Max Hairston. That has certainly not been the case. He is in fierce competition with Max Hairston for the starting cornerback 2 job. Babbich on Trey White. Trey is on a mission right now, end quote. So good to see from Trey, and good to see Babbich spreading the love to the veteran. On a couple of youngsters, Babbage on TJ Sanders, the rookie defensive tackle, says he's a personality and he fits the Bills' culture. Says he wants to be a part of the solution. And after practice, Ed Oliver spoke with the media and talked about Sanders and how Sanders is always making him remember how old he's getting. And Oliver also commented on Bills rookie defensive tackle Deion Walker. You saw a post from me on Thursday of him doing an individual drill, working his bend around the edge and speed. And my comment was, this guy's 6'7", listed 345 where I was looking. And to move that quickly, boy, that was impressive. And Ed Oliver today called him a dancing bear. Said he's a massive human being with ballerina legs. Bill's got some characters, man. Deion Dawkins and Ed Oliver at the mic is always a treat. Maybe not always with Ed Oliver, but typically if you get him at training camp, he's in a good mood and he's an enjoyable listen. But TJ Sanders getting praise from Bills defensive coordinator Bobby Babbage, who also spoke on rookie cornerback Max Hairston. And it's been up and down for Hairston. I thought maybe a little bit of a down day on day 3 and had a little bit of a down day on day 2 as well. As Babbage said, quote, day 1, pretty good. Day 2, we've got a lot of improvement to make. And I think that continued into day 3. I just don't think the Bills are going to be comfortable throwing him out there week 1. A lot can change from now and when they put the pads on, get out there for preseason games, this, that, and the other thing. Joint practice with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. But I'm just not sure the Bills are going to be that comfortable throwing Max Hairston into the fire week 1, particularly considering the lack of consistency we've seen from him throughout the first 3 days. So that'll do it as far as observations. It welcomed change. Cloud cover, a little bit of a breeze, bit of a sprinkle. Rain was a concern, but didn't get poured on, just a sprinkle. It actually felt pretty nice. It's been good to be out there these first 3 days. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode of Buffalo Pregame. Please like, share, subscribe, share it with your friends. Tell the people about it. We'd really like for you to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube as well, obviously, Substack. I know it's a lot, but it would really mean a lot to me if you guys were able to throw some subscriptions around. It's a free of charge. You just give your email. The Substack is emailed straight to you. Every article that I produce is emailed straight to your email. You don't even have to click anything. It's just whoop right there. So a lot of good stuff to come down the road, and we're happy to have you along for the ride right here on Buffalo Pregame. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you next time.